Happy to be joined by former Kentucky football captain Van Hiles. Van, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Little under the weather, but other than that, doing great.
Yeah. Give me a little introduction into Van Hiles.
Okay. Well, I'm a Louisiana boy, but honestly, I was born in Mississippi. Um, Raised in Baton Rouge. Uh, Had a pretty good high school career. Had no idea how good it was until probably about the age of 40. Then you look back and people say, "Oh, I remember you." I'm like, "Okay, I was pretty good." Went to Kentucky. Had a Had a great time in Lexington. It was the best choice I could have made. It wasn't my top choice, but God put me in a situation where I had to make a decision, and I made the right one.
Mhm.
Got drafted by the Bears, moved to Chicago, met my wife, started an engineering company, and everything else is downhill.
Yeah. What are you doing now?
I'm still running this business. Been in operation since 2001. Been blessed with that, with all the stuff that happened, with the market crashing. um, Things happening now, I'm still able to maintain a little niche in this industry.
Yeah. Well, I know some of what you're doing now because I hear you on KSR football podcast. I hear you on Tom Leach's show. I see your cut ups on Twitter, so I know a little bit what you're doing.
Yeah, and that was, you know, my parents are very into the church, and it's like it was just God's plan
Right.
because I really did this for myself because I was always wondering what was going on, like why? Because I'm an analytical guy anyway. And I was like, why are we giving up such and such? So then found a software, ESPN was giving these cuts, the replay. I'm like, oh, I think other people would want to know.
Right.
And that's how it all started now. I mean, it's patience is huge because I started this a long time ago. And like you said, recently the eyes have gotten brighter. So it's persistence, doing what you love, what is your you enjoy doing without getting accolades or getting paid for it. It's something
Right.
I enjoy, and that makes it easier. It's not working. It's just doing what I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, man, I hear you. Doing this podcast, it's don't get anything from it besides getting to know people, and just
Right.
it's fun. It's fun to talk to people, learn their backstories. So, take me back to so you're doing well high school football, and how do you end up at Kentucky?
Wow. Huh. That's weird because since both sides of my family are from Mississippi, and Southern Miss was the first school to come up to give me any kind of shine. So I really thought I was going to Southern Miss. I love Coach Bauer, the whole staff. The DB coach and I got along very well. Coach Withers, who actually became a head coach at North Carolina, and I think North Texas. Great group of guys, and they were young. And I don't know if you remember back in the 90s, Southern Miss was independent and was giving SEC teams trouble.
Right.
So I was locked in, and I went. Coach Jackson was my lead recruiter. He was a D line coach, and I kept asking, say, Coach Jackson, are you sure? This is pre-internet, so you couldn't just go online and find out. So, like Coach Jackson, look, I want you to understand. I want to be a mechanical engineer. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm locked in to engineer. Oh yeah, Van, we have it. We have it. Went on my recruiting visit to commit. They take you around campus, take you to the different colleges, and went into the engineering room and asked if they had Emmy. They're like, no. I'm like,
Dude.
so that honestly broke my heart and my parents because Southern Miss is 2 hours away from home. I'm basically at home. And so I'm like, Coach, I can't come. You don't have my degree, and that's what I want. I can't. Well, why did you? No, I already know what I want to be. So where I got to Kentucky is weird. My senior year, we changed coaching staffs in high school. The new offensive coordinator, and I didn't find this out until 10 years ago. New offensive coordinator was a GA for Coach Archer at LSU. So he gave my name to Coach Archer. Coach Archer was at Virginia as a linebacker coach.
Hmm.
Talked to Coach Archer. Here's a crazy story. He was like, "Man, I can't bring you here because we need to recruit the local area." Rondé Barber was one of their recruits. We're in the same class. I think 2 weeks later, he gets Kentucky's DC job. That's how I got to Kentucky.
That's awesome, man.
They
And
didn't touch me the whole recruiting season. Didn't
so,
know about him.
yeah, connection between me and you, Coach Arch was actually on Kentucky's staff in the 2000s when I was there. Uh,
Okay.
and
Yep.
of course, my Kentucky career didn't last very long because I didn't have my head on straight. But he was there. John Summerall was there.
Hmm.
It was we didn't have the best of win loss records at the end of the season, but you know a little something about that too, right?
Yeah. Lost 12 games in a row over 2 seasons. Um,
Tell fans when they say we just want to beat Louisville and that's all we want, that
that's
that can
all we won.
actually that can actually come to fruition.
First game of the season, that's all we won. It that is what I know fans are different. That is the great thing about team sports in college is that even though you go through adversities, it's the relationships that you create. There
Right.
is honestly, I remember those games, but what I remember more is our resilience in that locker room of getting ready to play every week.
Hmm.
Like even to the last game of the season, the majority of the players, there was some, I'm not gonna lie and say there was some players that pretty much hung it up about week 8,
Hmm.
but the mass majority of us stuck together, hung together, and finished that season out. It wasn't great, promise you. It wasn't great losing 10 games in a row. But at the end of the day, the relationships, the bonds you create in that locker room, you I can't give that up for anything else. I wouldn't say, oh, I'd rather been 9-2 than form those relationships. No, I'd rather be 1-10 and have those friendships for a lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. I understand. I was there in '04, and we only beat Indiana and Vanderbilt. We were 2-10 on the season. So yeah, I certainly understand that it it does take some resiliency, perseverance.
Yep.
But well, man, talk about just your time at Kentucky. I was going back and thinking, I was like, man, you all had some hellacious schedules. You're not playing, one double A, getting these kind of bye games that we have now. Y'all had a kind of a murderer's row of opponents.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, every team did. I mean, that was just the nature of the business. We had one less game, so that means that was one less non-conference game. And then we picked up Louisville as the second non-conference game. So it was rough, man. It was a situation where it's kind of like now, your margin of error is very thin.
Hmm.
And when you lose key players, like I mean, half of my childhood played at LSU. And all my buddies say, man, one thing about y'all were physical. And we brought that every week. The problem is when one guy went down, it was a problem.
Right.
Like when Pookie Jones didn't come back in 94, that was a problem. I guarantee you, if Pookie Jones comes back, we win more than one game.
Hmm.
And those kind of things hampered us year after year. A key player getting hurt, situations. Mo Williams leaving college early. If he doesn't leave his junior year, I guarantee you we go more than 4-7 my senior year.
Hmm.
Like those kind of things understated with our program is we don't have depth across the board. Our first 11, I think every year I was in school was pretty good.
Hmm.
But once one of those guys went down, sometime that drop from 1 to 2 was like falling off a cliff.
Well, and the defense was there. I think you're still the last team, the most recent team at UK to have two shutouts in the same season, shutting out Indiana,
You
shutting
might
out
be right.
Vandy. So,
You that 3-0 game was crazy, y'all.
man, I remember listening to that game to this day. I know where I was listening to that Kentucky Indiana game on the radio to hear y'all get a 3-0 win over Indiana.
see, I what makes that game so incredible is that first of all, it stopped the streak.
Hmm.
We lost 10 games, well, 12 games in a row up to that game. And to win a game, it was raining, it was a little cool for a kicker who kicked off once. The opening kickoff, he had 60 minutes basically of doing nothing. And that was if it wasn't, I think it was a 40-yard field goal.
Hmm.
It was high 30s. And for him to nail that, to break the streak with a defense that, man, that was one game where normally you go through a game and you're like, okay, guys, our offense is doing nothing. One of us got to make a play. And that was one game where I can say all guys stuck to their responsibility in the scheme and didn't try to do too much. And to shut them out at home, that's probably the biggest win of my career at there. That's not even counting the East Carolina game where we we solidified our first bowl in what 10 years or something.
Hmm.
Like that pales in comparison to that breaking that 12 game streak 3-0.
That's awesome. You, your senior year, you ended up as the leading defensive back tackler in the SEC, correct?
Wow.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty sure that's
that's not a good
true.
stat. That's not a good stat.
Yeah, not. It's one of those things that it's awesome for you, but then looking back on the team, it's like, well, if DB had to, you know, make all those tackles.
That's not very good. So no, I did not know that. I know I had a lot, but I didn't know I had the most. You know what? At corner, I can see it. I can see it. Um, Football's not like it was now, like it was in the 90s. People ran into the boundary, and I
Hmm.
was a boundary corner because I had two small corners in the field. I played field corner my entire career to my senior year. So there was a lot of runs to the boundary. I can see that, I guess.
Tell me about Coach Curry, because I remember when he first came on, it's like, man, having coach that has coached at Georgia Tech and Alabama coming to Kentucky. And here I am, like 8 years old, 9 years old, and I'm excited. Tell me about Coach Curry.
Um, just this is the simplest thing I say. He's the second most important male in my life. My dad and Coach Curry. Um, Wins are great, but life lessons are way more important.
Right.
He held us to a certain standard we all had to abide by. There are certain things I didn't agree with, and honestly, I still don't agree with. But that was a standard. He set rules. You had to abide by them. Now, I got a quick story. I'll say this. So those were great things, life lessons that were taught. I say that the lesson, the story is this. So we were playing LSU in that would have been 95 at home. Coach Archer still on the staff. And Coach Curry thing was 5 minutes, you be 5 minutes early, 5 minutes late. And remember, we had no cell phones. I didn't have a wristwatch. So lost track of time. I am in the parking lot, right outside Nutter. I'm literally a minute walk, if that, 30 seconds. Talking to my then girlfriend. We talking, blah, blah, blah. I get there like 30 minutes early, at least. We talking, chopping up. All right, it's time for me to go. Just feeling it, it's time for me to go. I'm walking to Nutter. Coach Archer comes out and he looks at me. He says nothing, just shakes his head. I'm like, oh, snap. What did I do? So I run inside, go to the locker room. The meeting room has two entrances. There's a entrance from, well, entrance from the players' locker room and from the meeting room.
Hmm.
So I go in the players' locker room and it's silent. No one's in there. Like, oh, it's my hometown team and I'm not going to start because I'm late. Might not play. So I'm like, all right, well. Shoom, open the door. And when Coach Curry is at the podium, ball game is off. Like when he's addressing the team, there's no way around it. Now, if you can catch him walking in, you might have a chance. But when you done. Boom, open the door. Coach Smith, my DB coach, looks at me. I'm like, I'm done. Next thing is, shoo, another door opens. The other door entrance is Mo Williams. Coach Curry looks at me, looks at Mo. God, sit down. So that's the only reason I played. If Mo Williams doesn't come to the other door, I'm cooked.
That's awesome, man. I can see that. Man, it's certainly different around campus now. Looking at
Oh,
from the old Nutter facility to what they've got going on over there with the Joe Craft Center. That's night and day, isn't it?
know what's worse is the Kerwin complex. Kerwin Tower,
Oh
UD
yeah, yeah.
Steel, land Kerwin one. Like
Kerwin won.
it's done. Like all that is like a park or something. I'm like, are you serious? Like
Yeah,
where? So that to me is more getting used to than anything else because it's just gone.
yeah.
Like if you wasn't in college in the 90s, you wouldn't even thought something was there. That housed at least a few thousand students,
Hmm.
and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
So my older brother went to Kentucky from late '80s, early '90s, and was in Kerwin Blanding. And then,
Okay.
of course, when I go, early 2000s, I'm in Kerwin one with the other football guys, and
Yep.
then my nephew, he ends up going. He stayed in Kerwin Tower, so we had like almost not three generations,
Right.
but we had almost 3 decades of of somebody in the family being in Kerwin Blanding.
Yeah. And it's some wild. What's bad is that there's some wild stories in the current buildings, and now we can't take our kids to show them
Right.
where we were. It's like it's just gone. It's wild, man. But campus is awesome. What they have done to upgrade facilities, and not just football. I'm a big track guy. The track facilities are starting to become really good. Baseball, softball. My senior year was the first year of softball. Um, what they have done with that facility is crazy. The soccer facility,
Mhm.
um, tennis, like everything has become top notch. It's amazing what 30 years can do to a program. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and to your point, I know he gets a lot of heat, talking about this coaching hires or whatever, but the way Mitch Barnhart has turned those other programs around, I mean, you can't give him enough praise for that.
I'm a let people understand. The only hire that Mitch Barnhart did that is questionable is Billy G.
Right.
Every other hire has been spot on. Basketball coaches. I know there was a blip between Matthews and Kenny now, but that was a crazy situation how Matthew went out right before the season. Cal and now Pope. I mean, the best coach, well, I would say the best coach on campus based on stats is Craig Skinner. Who hired
Mhm.
Craig Skinner?
Right.
Like, I think people who only look at the state of affairs of an athletic department only through the lens of two sports are failing the school.
Hmm.
When you're AD, you're going Olympic sports. I mean, we are honestly hurdle you in track. We are the American record holder in both women track events, hurdle events. Like, are you telling me we are both women track events? We're gold medalists in the Olympics. Come on now.
Best runner on
Um,
the planet came from
right. No,
UK.
yeah. Not just in this country, on the planet. So, I mean, what we're doing in volleyball, what we're doing now in women's basketball. I mean, I know our swimming and diving team had a great year a few years ago. Like, you have to take the soccer team is getting to the tournament. You have to take into account the entire program. He's not a football AD and a basketball AD. He's a complete AD.
Right.
And what he's done at that school, at our school, has been remarkable.
Moving different topic. Tell me about your stint in the NFL. What really sticks out?
I'm gonna tell you what sticks out, and this is the only time in my life where I'm bitter, and that's why I try to tell kids all the time, like all these guys you see in the NFL who might not last long. There's a lot involved in that. It's not just talent. So I went to the Bears, loved it, had a great time with my teammates. My coach, whom I formed a great relationship with, got moved to linebacker coach. I didn't even know until I came to the facility about 2 weeks before training camp. So the new coach is Greg Schiano. You don't know if you know who Greg Schiano is.
Yep.
There's only two people in my heart that I feel strongly negative about, and he's one. And he was the Penn State, I think he's Penn State DB coach before coming to the Bears as a analyst. So when you're in NFL, roster spots are limited. And make a long story short, the last roster spot for the DB was between me and another guy that he coached at Penn State.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That ends my story. But the great thing about that is I got picked up by the Rams to go to training camp. Had a great, probably the best locker room I've ever been associated with. Guys actually cared about each other, even if you were not a draft pick. You came in new. They really accepted me and balling out. And I appreciate them because Charlie Army, who's a GM, said, Van, look, you have a good chance of making this team. But if you get another concussion, I can't do it. You got your player settlement. There was more research going on with concussions back then. It was starting to ramp up. And lo and behold, I had a great fall camp. Great summer camp. They actually moved me back to corner a little bit. So they're like, dude, if you can play safety and corner, you basically in. Training camp, had a great first week playing both positions. Then all of a sudden I get a concussion.
Mm.
This is what's so great about that organization. I talked to Dick Vermeil. He had every position group at his house. He said, son, we're noticing you. Keep doing good work. We see your potential. Charlie Army, after I got a concussion, he kept me on the whole season to the final cut. He didn't have to do that because he wasn't going to keep me, but he allowed me to accrue some money to at least make it worthwhile. So
Yeah.
that team, and the crazy part about it, that team won a Super Bowl.
Right. So Dick Vermeil was coach when you were there.
Yep.
Was Coach Ort there? Was Steve Ortmar there? He ended up being special teams coach at Kentucky.
No.
I know he
Well,
was there with Coach Brooks for a bit.
yeah, no. Who is it? Frank Gantz, the special team coach, was like a legend. I think it's Frank Gantz. I think that's his name. No, it was a different guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was an awesome time, man. Even though I didn't make the team, like that was probably my best time in football since high school.
yeah, yeah,
Just and not playing, but just the group. We used to play golf together. All the DBs after summer workouts. Hey, what you doing? Hey, we going to play golf. Obviously, come on. Whole group would go play, and that was the relationships you formed just being around each other. Man, was amazing.
How are you on the golf course?
I used to be good. Haven't played. I started coaching football in high school. Just don't have the time.
Yeah,
Um, I was a nine for a long time. Um, now I probably give my I can probably still shoot in the high 80s. I'm thinking. Um, I just don't play.
yeah. That's I think the story for a lot of golfers is just don't get on the course enough to really
Yeah,
be decent.
I used to play every day
Hmm.
until I had kids. I used to play every morning. Um, I worked from home for the majority of my career, so I had the time.
Yeah, yeah. talk about football as you mentioned earlier, relationship building. Talk about football as just like building the character of young men.
Well, I would say this. First of all, especially when you get to college, I don't think high school is as much because you're dealing with usually kids in your neighborhood. You already know they're your friends anyway. When you go to college and there's different everything, ethnicities, social bringing up, your economics, like everything is different. Your beliefs religiously, politically, all those things get brought into the forefront when you got to sit next to a guy who talks, thinks, acts differently than you. The one common goal is once you get out of that door and you open that door to the football field, everybody has a common goal.
Hmm.
And that is something that I truly appreciate and it helped me learn because I went from living in a pretty much a black neighborhood, went to a private school, it's kind of eye opening. But then you go to college, and not even the guys who look like me are the same because we're from different neighborhoods, we're from different parts of the country. We don't act the same. All the guys in my neighborhood, we're pretty much the same. We pretty much come from the same social economic background.
Hmm.
Parents know, like that's easy. When you get to a situation of where everybody's different, everybody thinks different, like it is an eye-opening experience. But one thing that brings you together is football. And that is the big thing about playing college sports, man, is you form relationships with people whom you would have never met, never in a million years became best friends with guys who from the country of Florida who have gun racks on the back of their truck, to guys who have only gone to private school, who has never had to worry about their next meal or whatever. I mean, that was a guy on my team. It's weird. You know, we had a trading table and you had to eat breakfast with Coach Curry. And so this guy got a bowl of cereal and he had a cup of water. He poured the water in the cereal. And we're like, dude, there's a whole thing of milk over there. What you mean? I've never had milk in my cereal. His parents, his mom couldn't afford milk for cereal. So those are the kind of things that you start realizing, man, my life wasn't so bad. And and to see how people adapt to each other is crazy.
I've heard you say many times before that football is so unique as a sport because it takes 33 all together. And if, one person out of the 33 can mess it up, every other sport, you might have nine, five, maybe it's single sport,
Yep.
33 guys, and you got to rely on everybody.
You I cannot be a great corner without a good front four. That front four cannot get sacks and hurries without a great secondary. Like it all works hand in hand. If one guy makes a mistake, it's the weirdest thing. I didn't realize this until college because realizing now I was probably one of the better players on the football field in high school every game. And you can do things when you're the best player when guys are not so good. Is that when one guy screws up, the ball always goes to that spot. 99% of chance. Everybody else handles their gap. Everybody else does their job. He shouldn't get any yards, but lo and behold, he finds backside B gap where the linebacker is supposed to be. He's scraping outside for some reason, and they score a touchdown. And then fans are like, "Oh, that's bad coaching." Nah, it's not bad coaching. It's one guy made a idiotic mistake, did something he wasn't coached to do, and now he makes everybody else look bad.
Yep. Yep. Well, tell me about the current Cats. What are you seeing that, is there, tell me a reason for optimism.
Oh my God. Reason for optimism is the trenches. You win games
Mhm.
in the trenches. And these first 4 games, 5 games now with South Carolina, we have pretty much dominated the trenches. Even in South Carolina, you have a running back with over 100 yards rushing, probably close to 7 yards a carry.
Mhm.
We had a defense that I charted of the 8 drives. They were in 2nd and 7 or more on the first play of the first drive every time except once. So 7 out of 8 drives, they were behind the chains. Dominated the trenches is everything. Well, now we got to find a quarterback.
Right.
Like and you don't give up on Cutter, but I'm just saying, You got to find a difference maker. That game last week, last Saturday, was Lenore Sellers didn't turn the ball over, and he kept the chains moving with his legs.
Mhm.
Simple as that. Cutter had 3 turnovers, two for touchdowns.
And I still felt like even though that Sellers had a good game, I felt like we were in his face most of the time. It's just like once he broke the D line,
That's the difference a quarterback can make. That if he can, that O line was horrible. South Carolina O line was garbage. They couldn't get a running game and they couldn't protect them. The only difference is you got a guy six whatever 250, 240, who's hard to bring down, and he kept them in the game. Really, our defense gave up 150 yards passing and
uh,
under 100 yards to all the running backs except him.
yeah,
He had 80 some yards rushing. That's the difference in the game. You got a difference maker. The difference maker made plays. We don't have difference makers right now.
mhm,
And that's the problem. Our margin of error is less than a thread. And when we don't play well and get 5 turnovers in a row, you can't win. You just can't.
right, right. And from watching what you do on social, with the cut ups or whatnot, and really just talking, it's like they don't seem that far off. If they can just find something in the passing game to complement the running game, they don't seem that far off. I keep saying that, but then they turn around and get blown out by South Carolina. It's like I still don't think they're that far off.
When I went to the NFL, I had a vet tell me there is a thin line between being 4-12 and 12-4. And when he said it, I'm like, dude, you stupid. 4-12 and 12-4? I'm like, that makes no sense. Maybe 6-6 or 6-10 or whatever. But he's so true. A couple plays here and there. For example, if Lenore Sellers on the first drive on 3rd and 7 doesn't scramble for that first down, the game is different. If we score on that second drive instead of being 10-7, 14-7,
Well, was that the turning point in the game when Kentucky had to kick that field goal and didn't punch it in first and goal?
I'm gonna say that one, and I would say second half. I think it was the first drive where Cutter missed Macklin wide open in the end zone. If that became 17, I think South Carolina has to play a little differently.
Hmm.
Um, so I think those two plays were probably huge. There was a couple scrambles where we didn't get off the field. Um, yeah, but yes, that field goal hurt. You know this. Momentum is huge.
Right.
Confidence is huge. Confidence for Cutter is even more important than everybody else. If he throws a couple balls when we was first and goal at the 9 yard line, we didn't get any yards. We moved backwards. If he throws a couple balls that one could have been a potential touchdown, if he throws that touchdown before the wheels fall off,
Yeah.
could be a different game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I certainly, I enjoyed, and I know you know this. I don't care what their record is. I enjoyed. You only get 12 of these every year. So I try to take in every single one. So, man, I appreciate what you do so much. Like I said, I've been following you on Twitter for a couple of years, seeing the cut ups, and just like I told you before we started recording, my knowledge of football, even though I've followed it for almost 40 years, has gone up in the last 2 years just from listening to you, man. You have such
Yeah,
a
I really
knowledge of the
appreciate that.
game, and it's awesome.
I really appreciate it. I want to make the game simple for everybody else. If you can, and I hope that fans, when they see things, they're like, oh, coaching is important, but when guys don't execute, whose fault really is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, because you play for great coaches. I played for great coaches. And I know we were taught certain things that on Saturdays, not everybody did, including myself. I'm
hmm,
not saying, oh, I was perfect. No, I did things outside the framework too. So that's just human nature. When you're dealing with 18 to, 26-year-olds now, 28-year-olds now with the how they do things. But when you typically deal with 18 to 23-year-olds, think back to when you were 18 to 23, how many
hmm,
stupid mistakes you did. So These guys are young. Give them some time, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I certainly look forward to hearing you again on Kentucky Football Podcast and Tom Leach's show. Van, anytime, I would love to have you back on to talk about Kentucky football, especially like I said, you were in my wheelhouse of '90s Kentucky football, which a lot of fans probably don't think fondly of, but man, I love it so much.
I
Again, I told
appreciate
you
it.
that those jerseys behind you, those are the best jerseys.
Those were some heavy jerseys, man. Them things were mesh and heavy compared to what they wear now. Crazy how technology is, man.
Bring back that Power K helmet, man.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I love my Power K, but my memories of Power K is horrible.
Yeah.
Let's stick with these new logos.
There we
We're
go.
winning.
There we go. Man, I appreciate your time today. I know we went a little bit longer than I said, but
Yeah,
I could sit here and listen to you for 3 hours talk football. So
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I really do.
awesome. Have a good one.
Yeah, man.